Why stop what still works for us when we're not yet ready for the alternative? You don't forfeit your ladder just because you admire the rooftop. If a nation must rise, do we abandon the very pillar that still holds it upright? Today's motion proposes that Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. But I ask, do we burn the bridge that brought us here while the new road is still under construction? With this, I bid a good day to the organizers, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, co-debater, and dear Nigerians. My name is Silver Peter from Government Science Secondary School, Maitama, Abuja, and I stand to strongly oppose the motion that says Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. And with the following point of mind, I start to argue. Oil keeps Nigeria's economy stable. Nigeria derives roughly 60 to 70% of its federal government revenue and over 90% of its export earnings from petroleum exports. An abrupt cessation of oil would unravel critical fiscal buffers, precipitating currency devaluation, soaring inflation, and collapsing budgetary allocation in health, education, and security. More so, Nigeria's renewable energy is still marginal. Despite ambitious targets, Nigeria utility-scale solar wind installation amount to a few dozen megawatts, less than 1% of its peak demand, which hovers around 12,000 megawatts. Until grid-connected renewables reliably supply baseload power, a large-scale shutdown of oil is infeasible. Next, no immediate substitute for oil in heavy industries. Petrochemicals, cement manufacturing, and steel production rely on petroleum-based feedstocks and continuous high-heat processes technologies, for which renewable-driven alternatives like green hydrogen remain at pilot stage globally. Additionally, stopping oil will cripple public services, with oil contributing more than 70% of federal government allocation. Halting exploration will force draconian budget cuts, teachers' salaries delayed, hospitals' equipment procurement frozen, and Abuja's mass transit incomplete. Such a fiscal void cannot be bridged by carbon credits and concessional loans overnight. Furthermore, the world needs oil and Nigeria will profit. Even as advanced economies decarbonize, emerging markets in South Africa and Asia will import oil for decades, and Nigeria, with its low lifting costs, is well positioned to maintain its reserves, fund the gradual transition, and invest financial windfalls in renewables. Another crucial point to consider is that oil pays Nigeria's debt and supports the naira. Nigeria's external debt obligation, which hovers around 40 billion US dollars, must be met in hard currency, and oil earnings underpins foreign exchange reserves that stabilize the naira and keep bond yields from spiking. Losing such a stream risks sovereign debt crisis. Moving on, renewable energy require huge startup costs. Building gigawatt-scale solar farms, repairing pipelines for green hydrogen, and erecting wind farms require investment in tens of billions of dollars. And without accumulated rents and massive concessional loans, Nigeria cannot underwrite this capital outlay alone. Also, we don't have enough experts or technology yet. Nigeria's renewable energy is nascent, as there are fewer than 200 certified renewable energy engineers, and many critical components like PV modules, wind turbines, and storage inverters must be imported. A rapid pivot would exacerbate technological dependency and drive up import bills. Ultimately, oil gives us strategic energy security. Over-reliance on imported solar panels and foreign EPC contractors for wind projects exchange one form of dependence for another. In contrast, maintaining oil exploration preserves indigenous value in drilling, refining, and distribution. Thank you.
Standing on existing protocol, I am Maitama Benedict, still representing Government Science Secondary School, Maitama, and to give credence to this topic of discourse, I am here to rebut some of the points my opponents may likely make. First, they may choose to say that oil is a cause, but in actuality, oil makes for over 80% of Nigeria's foreign revenue and funds most of our infrastructure. The United Delta's pollution is tragic, but it's due to corruption and poor regulation, not oil. We must fix our systems, not abandon our main income source. They claim Nigeria has solar and wind potential, but potential doesn't power Lagos. In Nigeria today, oil and gas make for over 80% of our electricity, and over 14 solar projects have crashed over the past 5 years. Clearly, Nigeria does not have the structure to run on solar alone. They say 700,000 green jobs by 2050. But that's a projection, not a guarantee. The oil and gas sector makes for over 2 million direct and indirect Nigerian jobs, and we can't gamble the livelihoods of our Nigerians on a sector we haven't fully built or developed yet. They claim that Nigeria spends 29 trillion naira on generators yearly. That may sound true, but due to a weak national grid system, not because we lack solar. A basic home solar system costs 2 to 5 million naira, a cost most Nigerian families can't afford. We must strengthen what we have, not abandon it. They may also say that the world is moving on from oil. But oil demand is projected to remain steady till at least 2050, especially in aviation and manufacturing. Countries like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have continuously drilled oil while investing in solar. Why? Because smart nations transition, not crash out. They may also say that oil kills the environment, but let's be real, climate justice means lifting people out of poverty. In Nigeria today, millions still use firewood to cook. If we must fund renewables, oil must remain in the picture. Oil must fund the future, not be scrapped. They may also say that foreign investors are pulling out, but in actuality, oil and gas poured in $5 billion in investors in 2023, and at the same time, the 90 billion Dangote refinery has just been launched, Africa's biggest oil project. Clearly, oil still holds its value. Oil isn't the enemy, mismanagement is. Let's reform, not remove oil. Let oil and renewables work together to fund and build Nigeria's energy sector's future. To close up my rebuttal, I leave my opponents with this. I once met a woman in the dusty parts of northern Nigeria. She boiled water over cooking gas, and her children read with a kerosene lamp. She had heard of solar, but when I told her the price, she laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it sounded impossible. Now, how do I tell that woman to wait for panels that she can't afford and take away the only fuel that keeps her family warm? My opponents may say, let's stop oil, let's go green. But oil isn't something we can refuse. Oil is our engine. Oil funds our hospitals, our education, our security. Oil is the lifeblood of our nation. So I leave my opponents with this question. Should we throw away what works for us now, just because we hope something else might work later? Thank you.
Still representing Government Science Secondary School Maitama, Abuja, I am Amale Christine. And to add to what my second speaker has said, for a moment, let me ask a hard but honest question. What happens if Nigeria stops exploring oil? No more oil revenue, but yet that same oil builds about 70% of our national budget. No more foreign exchange, but yet that same oil brings about 90% of our exports earnings. How do we build roads? How do we invest in the educational sector? How do we invest in hospitals? How do we power the renewables my opponents passionately recommend? Let's talk about renewables. Yes, Nigeria is blessed with sunshine. It is blessed with wind. But over 85 million Nigerians are still in darkness. We cannot rely on renewables because we don't have the power to depend on it. Meanwhile, oil and gas have been boosting Nigeria's economy over the years. Foreign investors are pumping money into the oil sector. Why? Because they understand the assets we risk forgetting. Now, some may say that the world is moving on, but yes, the world is moving on, but with strategy, not desperation. Countries like Saudi Arabia and UAE are still exploring in oil. Why? Because wise nations do not destroy the foundations that built them, they build upon them. Fellow Nigerians, this is not just about oil. This is about our stability. This is about our economy. This is about the farmer who needs gas to fertilize his crops. This is about the students who use the kerosene lamp to read at night. This is about the millions of Nigerians whose livelihood depends on oil and the systems it sustains. To draw to a close, I leave you with this. Fellow Nigerians, let us be wise. Let us be gradual. Let us reform and manage the oil that has been boosting our economy for years. For Nigeria, for the future, and for the people in this nation, I stand to strongly oppose this motion. Thank you. I remain Favor Peter from Government Science Secondary School, Maitama, Abuja. And in summary, if we stop oil today, what will fill the gap? No budget, no foreign exchange, just a collapsing map. 70% of our revenues gone with one world when millions of Nigerians still cry in the dark unheard. Yes, the sun shines and the wind blows free, but only hope won't power rural families. Solar costs millions, too steep a climb, while oil flows are present time. Giants of green, Saudi, UAE, still drifts beneath the sea. They know you don't till the root to grow the tree. You build your future carefully. So let's not act in haste or pride. Let oil and renewables work side by side. Let's reform it, not abandon it. Be bold, not blind. And I leave you with this question. Would you break your only bridge while you're still at midways? Thank you.
Good day, the moderator, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, my co-debaters, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen. I am Fatima Aminu Ahmed, a student of SS2 from Great Heights Academy, and I am here today to support the motion that says Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. Firstly, what is oil exploration? Oil exploration is the process of locating potential underground oil and gas reserves to enable their extraction and production. Renewable energy, on the other hand, is derived from naturally replenished sources, meaning they don't run out on a human timescale. Nigeria shifted from agriculture to oil exploration primarily because of the discovery of crude oil in Olubri in 1956. As oil quickly became the country's main source of revenue, the government began to prioritize it over agriculture, which was previously the backbone of the economy. Oil promised quick wealth, foreign investments, and global economic relevance, so farming was neglected and the economy became heavily dependent on petroleum exports. Where has that brought us today? It has clearly done us more harm than good. Oil is destroying our land, our health, and our people. To my opponents, how can you defend an industry that has turned the Niger Delta into a graveyard of poisoned rivers, dying forests, and sick children? Oil spills ruin livelihoods. Gas flaring causes cancer. Our people live in poverty while only a few benefit. You talk of oil like it's a blessing. It has been a curse to many. Oil is a dying industry. Stop dragging Nigeria backwards. While the world is racing towards clean, smart energy, you are telling us to keep exploring oil? That's like insisting we use typewriters in the age of smartphones. Countries like China, Germany, even Saudi Arabia are moving on. So why is Nigeria being told to stay behind? Why should we invest in something the world is abandoning? Renewable energy means real, lasting jobs. You claim oil brings jobs. Really? How many? And how long do they last? Most oil jobs are controlled by big foreign companies with machines replacing people. Renewable energy offers local jobs, solar panel installations, maintenance, green tech development, real jobs for Nigerians, not just profits for a few elites. Oil wealth has made us poorer. If oil is so great, then where is development? Where is the stable electricity, the good roads, the clean water? For over 60 years, oil has been our main export. Yet, 90 million Nigerians still live in poverty. What has oil really bought us except for corruption, conflict, and debt? Renewable energy makes us stronger, not weaker. We export crude oil and import petrol. That's not just wasteful, it's embarrassing. It shows we're still dependent. Renewable energy lets us take control of our power. We stop depending on foreign refineries, stop wasting money, and start building energy independence. Climate change is not a theory. It's happening here. My opponents may want to close their eyes to climate change, but farmers in the north can't farm because of desertification. Heavy floods ruin homes in Bayelsa. Heat waves kill crops, and what's the cause? Fossil fuels, especially oil. If we keep exploring oil, we're only digging our own graves. In conclusion, even oil-rich countries are planning for a post-oil future. Let me ask a question. Are you wiser than Saudi Arabia? Even they are investing billions in solar and green tech. If the oil kings know it won't last forever, why are you defending it like it's Nigeria's only hope? That's not patriotism, it's denial.
Imagine Nigeria where the people don't have to worry about fuel scarcity because the energy comes directly from the sun. Imagine Nigeria's future powered not by digging up burning oil, but by tapping the sun, the wind, and the flowing rivers. Clean, endless sources that can power homes, schools, and even farms across the country. Imagine the legacy we could leave. A cleaner, healthier, and more resilient Nigeria for generations yet to come. Standing on all existing protocols, my name is Aisha Abdulaziz, an SS1 student from Great Heights Academy, and I stand before you to propose the motion which says Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. Today, we stand at a point where Nigeria must decide what kind of future it truly wants. For years, our economy has relied on oil, and while that has shaped our past, we must ask if it's wise to let it define our future. And while we are trapped in this cycle, countries are investing in renewable energy, thereby boosting their economies, creating jobs, and securing safer futures. The truth is undeniable. For Nigeria to have a more secure and prosperous future, we must stop oil exploration and move on to renewable energy. We have enough resources to harness the power of the sun, the wind, and the water. We need to stop relying on the past and embrace the future where Nigeria can lead in clean energy. Solar panels, electric cars, clean energy targets, etc. The world is advancing and countries are investing in everlasting renewable energy. Now, oil can finish. I don't think we've quite thought about that. The more we drill, the less there is. It's a limited resource,
And without proper management or control, which is exactly what is happening, it could dry up faster than expected. What happens when all the oil runs out? What do we fall back on? But renewable energy, it never runs out. The sun will rise, the wind will blow, and the rivers will flow. These are endless sources that can power our lands without destroying our future. All oil exploration has done is made a few rich while leaving majority of our people in the dark. We burn gas, we spill oil, and we destroy land. Yet, we still think oil exploration is the solution. Nigeria is over-dependent on oil exploration. Every time oil prices drop, we cut budgets, we beg from other countries, and we literally scramble for survival. Oil exploration is expensive, not just in terms of money, but in terms of the lives and the resources it costs us. Meanwhile, renewable energy is very much free. I know my opponents might argue about the fact that while renewable energy sources such as solar and wind are inherently free, the true cost of renewable energy comes from the initial investment in building the infrastructure, e.g., solar panels, wind turbines, etc. But the sun doesn't send us an electricity bill, does it? And we don't have to pay for the wind, it's already ours. And the water doesn't send us monthly invoices. And come on, let's face it, isn't it better to pay for something that can be used for years or even decades to come than to repeatedly pay for something that is one day going to dry up under the earth? Oil exploration has made us a land filled with poverty, corruption, pollution, and a country constantly at the mercy of global oil prices. Speaking of pollution, according to the World Health Organization, over 99% of people all around the world breathe air that exceeds air breathing limits, and over 13 million deaths each year due to avoidable environmental causes, including air pollution. What does the Niger Delta have to say about this? A region rich in oil but poor in every other way. The air is toxic, the land is polluted, the children are dying. Why? Because the very resource that was meant to lift us up has now become the waste that has pulled us down. Now, imagine Nigeria where we can lead in clean energy, exporting clean energy ideas to the world. In Nigeria, powered by the clean sun and wind without oil spills or gas flares. This is not just a dream, it's a future within reach.
Standing on existing protocols, my name is Hannatu Waziri, a student of SS2 from Great Heights Academy, and I am here to support what my co-debater said. To start off, oil dependency is economically dangerous. Nigeria earns over 80% of its foreign exchange from oil exports, yet oil prices are unstable and often dictated by foreign markets. Remember 2016 when Nigeria fell into serious recession because global oil prices crashed? Or the COVID-19 crash? Our economy suffered badly. A country's economy should not be built on a commodity that it cannot control. Renewable energy offers us a chance to diversify, to invest in solar, wind, and hydropower, building new industries and new sources of income. Moreover, the environmental impact of oil is devastating. Oil exploration has destroyed the Niger Delta. Oil spills, gas flaring, polluted water, and dead farmlands. Entire communities can no longer fish or farm, yet these are people who live closest to the oil. Renewables, by contrast, are clean. Solar panels don't leak, wind turbines don't flare, and hydropower doesn't poison rivers. Not only that, health is at stake. The air and water in oil-producing regions are laced with toxins. The result? Cancer, respiratory diseases, and infant deaths. To the opposing side, would you still support oil exploration if it was your children breathing that air? Renewables are safer for our bodies and our environment. In addition, energy access is unequal and unjust. Over 40% of Nigerians still lack electricity, but Nigeria is blessed with abundant sunlight, enough to power every home and school if we invest in solar energy. With renewables, we can reach rural communities where the national grid may never go. That is true development. That is energy justice. In conclusion, oil is finite. The sun is not. Our oil wells are running dry. Yet Nigeria enjoys over 2,000 hours of sunlight every year. The sun is free, constant, and abundant. So why pursue a resource that will eventually run out when we are blessed with one that is endless? Thank you.
To sum up of what we've said, Nigeria deserves a future that is clean, safe, and prosperous. The oil age brought corruption, conflict, and poverty. Renewable energy offers us a chance to break free. So we should stop glorifying the past. We are not oil dependent, we are opportunity dependent, and that opportunity lies in renewables. Thank you.